Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. Today I want to give you guys an update on WHIZBANG the Wonderful. And the reason this card is relevant right now is because Hearthstone has just been patched, has just been prepared for the upcoming expansion. The upcoming expansion is not out, but each time there is like a 4 to 5 day lead up into the expansion, they patch the game. And one notable thing that we can see from the upcoming expansion are the upcoming deck recipes, and WHIZBANG pulls these recipes and gives you a random one. So even though we can't play with WHIZBANG right now, we can have a look and see what Blizzard thinks is good in terms of decks, and we can see kind of the power level that we can expect from the first issue of WHIZBANG. So overall, it's pretty exciting. So today, I'm going to go live and have a look at all the deck recipes with you guys. This is not a rehearsed video. I have never seen a single one of these deck recipes before this video. So we're essentially, we're doing it live. All right, let's do it here. So one of the deck recipes is Gilneas Armory. Any card I don't have is from the upcoming expansion. So it looks like this deck is kind of like Taunt, some Rush, some Taunts, some more Taunts. We got Super Collider. I think it's a one of. That's kind of weird. And we got Ziliax. And there's like no mechs in here. So that's kind of weird, actually. I suspect this deck is a little bit on the weak side, but I suspect this deck is a pretty damn strong anti-aggro deck. With the combination of taunts, board clears, quests, and armor gain from the Baku Moon Eater, I think this is a very good anti-aggro deck, so maybe it's a good meta deck after all. The Boomsday Project, so I have very few of the cards, so let's see what we have here. We have Rovers, armor gaining mechs. We have mech discoveries, more mechs with Rush, more mechs, mech. Again, the legendary is Ziliax, so that might be a pretty wonderful legendary to craft if Blizzard is including it in a lot of these decks. I'm not surprised to see Ziliax in this deck, but I am actually pretty surprised to see Ziliax in the previous deck. We see this giant magnetic, can't be targeted mech here, and we have Dr. Boom, the Mad Genius. So it's very literally a mech-packed mid-range warrior deck. Overall, I think this deck is quite strong. Overall, I think this deck is good against aggro, but not very good against most other things. But who knows? The quest can actually persevere through many challenges. All right, Shaman. So we have 5 cards new in Witchwood Awoken. So Awoken seems to be a Hagatha deck with some big dudes, a lot of board clears, kind of like a control Shaman. So adding in from the upcoming expansion, we have 2 Omega Mines, 2 Menacing Nimbus, so some minion generation, and some Beakered Lightning. Okay, that's not bad. It's kind of like a pretty typical control deck. I think it's going to do okay. I don't think it's going to be that good against aggro. Certainly not as good as the anti-aggro warrior deck that we just saw. I think this deck is pretty mid-tier on the power level, not overall too good. And the deck that is coming up with a lot of the new cards: transform your minions into random legendary minions. We got Thunderheads. We got Stormchaser, draw a spell from your deck with 5 or more. So we're looking at just Bloodlust. So it looks like it's basically a mid-range elemental shaman deck with Bloodlust and Minion Zerging as finishers. So Stormbringer and Bloodlust, those are the 3 spells over 5 mana, and you got 2 Storm Chasers to pull them from your deck. So it's basically an elemental deck, and you always have to be wary of the threats of Bloodlust and Stormbringer. So I feel like this deck is actually pretty good, but if your opponent realizes your game plan is just to spam whatever the hell minions you can the whole game, it's probably not that hard to counter. It kind of feels like playing against Paladin in Arena from what I can tell. Pretty good deck though, but easy to counter for experienced players. For Rogue, we have 3 cards off. This is basically a steal your crap Rogue with some kind of weapons. Does it have the... Yeah, it has the Spectral Cutlass. Spectral Cutlass Rogue. And if anyone is running weapon removal, this deck is garbage, but who knows? People might not run weapon removal. We have a 1 of Academic Espionage and 2 Toxicologist. So the weapon buff kind of makes sense here because you want to buff this with attack, and then you play cards from other classes to up its durability. So overall, I can understand the deck, but I think this deck is pretty trash. This deck is pretty horrible. You don't want to get that deck with WHIZBANG. And it's at random. It's 18 decks at random. The upcoming one, Necrium Trials. So what are we hoping for? Death Rattles, some heavy combo cards, Death Rattle synergies, card draw. So, okay. Bunch of Death Rattles and Mecharoo. Oh man, I don't know about that. Bunch of Death Rattles and basically a mid-range tempo rogue deck. I don't have much hopes for a deck like this. I think both rogue decks are pretty weak. I think you're better off just playing a tempo odd rogue, or you're better off just incorporating some kind of combo, or you're better off going closer to the control side. This deck has like a taunt in the form of Defender of Argus. It's not going to hold up. That deck is garbage. Both the rogue decks are pretty bad against most of the metas, I imagine, coming up in the Boomsday expansion. Okay, so 3 cards off. We got 2 Crystologies and 1 Kangor, and the rest of the deck is some kind of like even dude paladin with big hitters at the end. Honestly, we know this type of deck works. It's got some weird shit like the Glass Knight and a few of the other things, but I don't think those additions are enough to actually sink the deck. I think this is just a strong deck. So first Paladin deck is very good. And the next one we got mechs. We got the other crazy 1-drops, more 1-drops, 1-drop Searcher, mech synergy. We got double Mechano Egg, 1 True Silver. 1 True Silver is the only weapon? That's kind of weird. Okay. Kangor's Endless Army. I think that card is mostly tailored towards playing bigger mechs, but whatever. I don't think that matters too much. And a lot of magnetic stuff. I actually have quite a lot of faith in the magnetic stuff. I think this deck is pretty good. I think both Paladin decks are very strong, in fact. So you definitely want to roll Paladin in your dice roll by WHIZBANG. I Hunt Alone. This is a Deathstalker Rexar. People often call a deck like this Spell Hunter. There's many variations. The new addition from the expansion is Secret Plan, which essentially is 2 spells in 1, giving a seemingly random secret your opponent's way. It's actually pretty good. I think this deck works. I don't know if it can keep up with a lot of the aggro options, but it might. Crap like Freezing Trap, things like Hunter's Mark are actually going to go a pretty long way against magnetized abominations. Yeah, I'm sure. So, wow, 24 new cards in this deck. Wow, that's a really new one. So we're keeping Candleshot, Hunter's Mark, and Harvest Golem. So I'm guessing it's mechs. Mech. Lots of mechs. We got Flark. Okay. I think a deck like this would actually be pretty good, but you really have to have something that buffs the attack of those Goblin Bombs. You don't want to be burning your magnetics on all of the Goblin Bombs to activate them. So I think it's a little bit weak in that sense. I think this type of deck, the Mech Goblin Bomb Buffered Hunter for face damage, is actually a very strong deck, but I think this is a pretty poor execution. So I think it's just all right deck. So Hunter's kind of in the mid-range, not too horrible, but certainly not hopeless. Druid Landscaping, summon 2 Treants, and Gloop Sprayer. And this is basically a stalling cube. Oh, it's the Astral Tiger Druid. I'm like trying to figure out, where's the Hadronox? I don't understand. It's an Astral Tiger deck, guys. It's a deck that doesn't run out of cards. So you remember like Jade Druid? This is basically Jade Druid, except when you run out of cards, you don't play infinitely increasing minions for 1 mana. You just play a bunch of Astral Tigers. So, it's a little bit worse, but, whatever. Druid has very good defensive tools against aggro, so whatever. I think that's fine. It's not a great deck, but it's fine. Trees are friends. Okay, so we got that legendary. We got, if you control treants. So this is a treant deck, I guess. You got Landscaping. You got the Tending Tauren. You got Mulch Muncher. Cenarius, because that guy has treants. Living Mana, Force of Nature, treants. Lots of treants. And you got Savage Roar as a persistent threat on the board. Treant Token Druid. Look, this is like all the treants in the game. So Blizzard thinks this works. They made it into a deck. I can't say otherwise without playing it. I think it's going to be all right. That might be a good deck. I think it actually will be a good deck. And let's go Mecha Jaraxxus. What does Mecha Jaraxxus get? They get Omega Defender and Omega Agent. Omega Agent is a crazy powerful card if you have a lot of efficient board clears. And this is essentially a control demon lock that has, a shitload of board clears. So this deck is great. It's fantastic. I feel this deck is going to be hard to beat. But okay, what else does a Warlock get? Crystallizer. We got some Crystallizer Nether Soul Buster. So people kind of gave me crap for not noticing this combo. That is in fact a very good combo. You can do Crystallizer, take 5 damage, gain 5 armor, 1 mana, 1/3 is totally worth it. And if you do it on turn 4, you get that plus a Nether Soul Buster. That becomes a 6/5 for 3 mana and is a demon. So yeah, it's kind of what you expect. It has the legendary Warlock spell, which is something I'd absolutely put in a zoo deck. However, one card I probably would not put in a zoo deck is Blood River Gul'dan, but depending on the meta, that might be the right choice. You might need that extra finishing move in a type of zoo Warlock deck like this one. I think this is actually a pretty inefficient zoo Warlock list, but I think zoo Warlock's going to be strong, so I'm actually placing this deck on the strong side of things. Moving on to Mage. Spells are so fun. No changes. Wow. Okay. Okay, what does this have? So we have Mana Worm, a whole bunch of crap spells, and peaks on Alaneth. So this is literally Tempo Mage. Alright, so how does Blizzard want us to play Tempo Mage? Deal 1 damage to a minion, minions next to it. I don't think that's that good of a card because I think people are going to play largely mechs. Swarm cards are mostly going to be popular in Paladin and Shaman. Well, maybe those decks are going to be good, so okay, fine. But typically, when you're playing Tempo Mage, you want cards that are flexible enough that can hit stuff on the board, but that can also hit your opponent's face. So I don't know how good that card is. We've got some spell damage synergy. Can only attack if you cast spell this turn. 2 mana, 2/4. Is that worth it? I don't think so. Stargazer, that's good. That's really good in Tempo Mage, actually. This is alright. Yeah, so I think we're just looking at a fairly inefficient Tempo Mage, but Tempo Mage just as a core is a really strong deck, so I have to say this deck is pretty strong. And I also think this big Mage with Frostless Jaina is also pretty strong, so Mage is actually pretty strong as well. Moving on to Priest. Okay, 8 cards off for the first list. That's pretty interesting. It's an Awaken the Makers deck, so you're playing Death Rattles. You also have Zarek's Cloning Gallery. Let's take a look at the minions here. We have Obsidian Statue. We have Zarek. So Zarek's pretty interesting. If you can cast like a Power Word Shield with Zarek Clone Factory, you get a full 5/5/1 when it dies. That's kind of cool. Replicate, you get Cube. Replicating a cube is very good. It's like facelessing a cube, except it's probably a little bit better. Vivid Nightmare. Oh man. This deck seems pretty annoying. I don't know if this deck can survive against the future aggro decks in order to actually do some kind of crazy combo shenanigans. But man, these combos are just crazy value. Like it's unbelievable value, right? Like imagine you get Spirit Singer Umbra from Zarek's Cloning Gallery, like near the start. You get like 5-6 Death Rattle triggers immediately. Oh my god, that's disgusting, right? That's crazy. Okay, cool. Look forward to that one. Inner Fire Priest deck. Test Subject. I don't have faith in that. Extra arms. Nothing crazy there. Yep. If you're gonna have a whole bunch of spells that target minions, you might as well include the new Zarek card. Ysera seems like a very weird fit. This deck is garbage, I think. Obviously, if you have a really experienced player and you know how to save each of these cards for their perfect time, and you know your win condition and you know how it works, sure, it's probably all right, but a new player who hasn't seen this deck list before, who doesn't have the deck list in front of them, who doesn't understand the win condition of the deck, oh my god, this is like the worst. If you don't know what's going on in Hearthstone, you are not going to be able to win the game with this deck. It's going to be really bad. All right, so that's not too bad overall. Overall, I have to say, I think most of the deck recipes are a power level above the last expansion. And while there's certainly some super garbage ones, I think the overall power level of WHIZBANG resulting from the 18 deck recipes that we just witnessed is going to be slightly better than expected. And keep in mind, WHIZBANG will go off of those 2 slotted deck recipes. So in the next expansion, we're going to have new deck recipes. You can essentially experience decks from that new expansion at no cost if you keep your WHIZBANG. So it should be pretty fun. And it seems like the deck recipes are slightly increasing in power level over time. So, well, maybe WHIZBANG might not get his time to shine, though I will certainly do my best to make it happen. He will probably get his time at some point in the game. For now, hope you guys enjoyed my review, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.